from the parking lot to fields 3, 4, and 5. And then we've also got about 6,000, what do we end up with? About maybe 5,000 square feet of sod that we're bringing in to fill with, instead of doing hydromulch like we talked about a little bit before, we're going to lay sod, which is a really nice improvement. And then we've got an aerator and a top dresser rented for Monday that Izzy and his crew are going to pick up, and we can do plug aeration on all the fields, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and 5. And then the top dressing is just an organic compost that is spread a 1/4 inch thick across all the fields. And after doing plug extraction, that'll really help because it kind of gets into those plug spaces. And that's going to really reduce watering needs, and it'll improve the quality of the turf surface. It'll make it softer, won't be as hard compacted, and will help the roots get the nutrients they need to grow and do well. The fields are doing much better, and Izzy and his crew have done just a great job of following through with all the fertilizer applications, and their mowing program's been great. So if anyone has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them, but that's the program. We did get donations. I want to thank the generous citizens who donated to the project. At least one was anonymous, and this will be at no cost to the city through the donations of the citizens, and I'm going to help some too, whatever is necessary to make sure that it doesn't cost the city anything. But that's it.
And we have people who have offered to donate. Should we need more? I've got a list standing in the wings to throw in some more money. So.
And on that note, Council, and I do appreciate the fundraising effort. I'm glad to hear that it won't cost us. In terms of, the city can accept those funds, and I'm not sure this has always been done this way in the past, but even when the city accepts funds, it's still this council and my authority your authority to appropriate those funds, and then mine to spend them. So I think even in instances where we have donations coming in, it's a best practice for us to still bring those revenues in front of the council for appropriation and expenditure. So
completely agree and appreciate that. All the donations are going to the city and through the city, and then all payments will be made by the city to the contractors. I had to give Whittlesey Landscape my credit card to guarantee the deliveries that are scheduled for Monday of the materials, but the invoices, and I may get reimbursed by the city, but I'll have all the receipts and invoices.
And thank you for bringing that up. That is a conversation you and I had over the phone, and that was another reason for this council meeting. Our colleague and friend here, Mr. Glasheen, is on the hook. So I felt like it was, I didn't want him to stay on that hook and actually expend those funds if they weren't going to get appropriated. So that's why we're here too. Questions among the council, for the council, then we'll move to public comment or public testimony. Hearing Ms. Brown.
Well, I just had the question about the agenda item includes or city funds, so we haven't gotten the.
I wasn't fully apprised of how much we had in. Like, do we have 15,000 raised? But it's going to be 20. I just wanted to give you all flexibility of
and
it.
Have the pledges been received?
I think some of them have. I know I saw a check sitting on Ashley's desk. You can maybe give us a.
Yeah, the only one that might not be received yet comes from Jim Rao, who's traveling in Europe. And I spoke to him, and he was talking about Venmo, or he said I could just mail a check by text. And I said, just mail a check. And I said, it's fine. And then the rest of the funds come from me. And I haven't written a check to the city yet because I wanted to wait and see what the total final expenditure is and what the donations are. And then it's my intention to make up any difference.
But the 12,000 has been received, and
Yes, and then,
The other pledges have been received except for the one.
yes.
guy that's out there.
And the only other, there's an additional donation that I forgot to mention that isn't on here, and that's from Western Hills Little League, the baseball and Western Hills girls softball. Together, they're donating $2,000 to help with the effort, which is much appreciated.
And in any scenario, we have enough to get it going. And then if there was a shortage, again, it sounds like the shortage would be covered regardless, but it could still come before council to make up a difference. But
And then what's the timing, for the people who use the
It's
fields?
a great question.
And when do we think the fence will come down and when will that go up? And are we giving any kind of notice to people so they know that it's not in use?
right.
That's a great question. So, to answer your question, we expect the work will start Monday morning. All the material will be delivered on site Monday morning, which is the 20 yards of dirt. We've got 100 yards of the top dressing, organic compost. We're actually getting 5 yards of decomposed granite to help maintain the gate entrances where it's all tracked out and low. And then we ordered a little extra DG decomposed granite because when you get a truckload of it, it's cheap to add on. There's a basic delivery charge. So we're going to have some extra DG to help freshen up some of the walking trails if you need it. And we'll talk about where to put it.
How much decomposed granite is coming in?
5 yards.
And when do we think the fence will go back up?
So the fence will come down Monday. We think that the grading work on the dirt will probably be done on Monday, and that we'll be laying sod on Tuesday. We think we'll be done with the plug extraction Monday on the aeration and the top dressing on Tuesday. So we think the whole project will be done by the end of Tuesday. The fence will be down. Now, our contractor that's taking the fence down might be able to just put it right back up, and I know he's capable of it, but we've got Viking Fence lined up to put it back up, and they've given us a bid. All we need to do is call them, and then as fast as they can get there, they'll put it back up. Meanwhile, to close it, we've got some signs that say this area is closed for maintenance, and they're in my truck. Izzy, I can give them to you. We've talked about Izzy's going to set up cones on Monday morning early, just to
So
keep that parking area closed off. So we think it'll only really be closed off for 2 days. I also have some temporary orange plastic fencing, and we've got T-poles to temporarily fence off the area where the new sod goes down that'll stay down. It'll temporarily fence off the area where the fence is down, and then once the fence goes back up, we'll put it around the new sod area to keep people off of it for 2 months or something. And it's a small area of the field.
So 2 months,
Well, just for that one field, just for that, what field number is that?
3, 4, and 5, but I mean, it's
Just
just
that-
section of 3, 4, and 5, but also, Brooke, Izzy and his crew took up the bases in preparation of this and put down big
Cones.
orange cones and then flagged all the sprinkler heads and stuff like that. So people, and of course, with me being out at the fields as much as I am, I've been apprising people of to the best of my ability, because getting contractors and getting people, things are somewhat liquid, but I've been talking to people for months. So people are pretty aware that something's going on, and that we're requesting that our citizenry have a degree of flexibility as to allowing us to work with the system and make it as nice and get everything back up and running as quickly as possible, but also make sure that the maintenance and the improvements that we're doing are going to stick, basically. But we're going to try to keep the disruption to a minimum, obviously.
But everything should be, open up for use after 2 days.
2 days, or
Yeah.
I thought you said 2
No,
months.
just there's there's an area of the grass where there's new sod that's put down that we'll want to keep people off of that sod. And it's kind of like Zilker where they refresh the sod after ACL. Sometimes they'll put up a little tape around a certain area of new sod for a few weeks while that sod gets
I
established.
just need to know what to tell people if they
Uh,
ask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the park and the fields will be open again for dog park use and people's use, I would say by the end of the week.
In a couple
In
of days.
a couple of days,
And then
yeah.
the fence will be back up.
As fast as Viking Fence can get back
Get
out to
back
put
on.
it up, or if our contractor may put it up,
And it-
I'm sorry, if, just in case a resident calls and asks why we're running the irrigation system in the morning and the afternoon, especially right where the new sod is, we have to do that for at least 14 days, just so that the sod grabs.
the
Yeah,
roots get in, yeah.
Just, you'll get some calls, why is this running at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
Okay,
Or
that's good to
sod.
know. That's good to know.
And
Thank
another
you.
point on that is that that sod will brown out at this time of year, so it's going to look like it died, but it's not dead. It's not going to be dead. It's just going to look like it's dead, and then it'll green back up again, probably in the fall, by September, and then it'll be really nice, by the time fall activities start.
That's good information.
Yeah, because you'll look at it and you'll say, "Well, this was dumb. They put this grass down in the hot summer."
I would have
and it
said,
all
I would have
died."
in fact said that.
I said that last year when we resodded a lot of an apartment complex I did, and I said, "All the sod is dead. Y'all wasted all our money." And they're like, "No." And now I was there this week, and it's just like perfect. So, anyway, Izzy knows.
Good?
Good.
All right. With that, any other questions? Hearing none, come on up. Say hello.
Are you gonna resod the whole field? All
No.
25?
No, just a little bit of the first field when you go through the gate, where there's bare grass right now.
One.
And then when we fill that, regrade it, we're gonna have to expand the grassless area a little bit as we grade and add dirt. And so, but we think it's only about, we're gonna start with 8 pallets, which is 500 or 450 square feet a pallet. So we're starting with just under 4,000 square feet of sod, which isn't a lot if you think about the size of a house, footprint of a house. It's not a whole lot. The nice thing is it's sod, and so it's instant lawn, and it's a lot better than trying to seed.
Yeah, and as Kevin said, Izzy and his crew has done such a excellent job this year, and we've worked hard on fixing the irrigation and getting the schedules right and everything. So I personally have been pleasantly surprised at how much Bermuda we have on the existing fields, especially 3, 4, and 5 that I kind of given up on for dead. And we have a lot of good Bermuda, and it's starting to choke out some of our weed infestation and some other things there. So, it really, all the credit goes to our city staff. Like, they're amazing. So.
Okay, good. All right, happy.
And thanks to you, Kevin and Phil, for getting this project organized and
Thank
underway.
you. It's
Yes.
been fun, really.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be great.
Good.
So are they gonna move the gate? when they put
No,
the fence back up?
We had
So-
talked about that, and when we looked at it, we thought it made sense to put a gate kind of where that black trash can is between the two fields. But then when we were standing there looking at it, we thought, somebody's going to get hit by a baseball right here, and there's a reason why the gates are where they are. And so the other thing is, we tried to approach this by making as few of changes, trying to avoid making any changes, and instead just sort of doing restoration and maintenance, because, it's better to take care of things that you have than to try to change things up. But
Well, also, things typically in this city have tended to evolve, and when basically, especially with the park, like my attitude, let's do the best job we can of taking care of what we've got, but if it ain't broke, let's not try to fix it, per se, because, for instance, that would have been a perfect situation, like, oh yeah, why don't we just move the gate, and suddenly that doesn't work, so we may make improvements. Kevin and I have talked about one improvement or we think, and we definitely think, but I mean, that's not in this project.
yeah, we're talking about maybe putting another gate in there, but later, kind of behind the backstops at the parking lot, where we've moved the bench, the bleachers to
That
now.
3, 4, and
And-
5, where you've got that kind of
That
curve
corner.
from field 2,
And-
and you've got that kind of
And one of
dead zone.
the ideas of that is that you remove the wear and tear from the pedestrian traffic and put it behind the backstop, and you could put a little more DG down back there that would prevent it from turning into mud. and it would be good for both bleachers that would make sense behind the backstop, but also you could make it essentially a sally port area for people going into the dog park, where you could sort of completely fence off that corner by tying it into the backstop, and then let people come in with their dogs, take them off leash, and then go on into the park area. And that DG might be good in there, but we're not trying to do that now. We're just, we're thinking about that and studying it. I think it's important to go slow, and also, even if we made a change that significant, we would want to get lots of input from lots of people, park commission, and come to council and to explain what we were proposing. So we're just doing maintenance at this point.
All right. And with that, I would be happy to entertain a motion. And in that motion, if you would just also consider some delegation of authority so I can enter into a standard service agreement with the contractors.
Okay. You wanna make a motion?
Why don't you make a motion?
Okay. I make a motion to approve the proposal as listed in the agenda and in the attachment, and to give the mayor authority to execute whatever contracts and make payments consistent with that proposal.
You heard the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I've heard a motion by Mr. Glasheen, a second by Mr. McDuffie. Further discussion, council? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Being 4 ayes, no nays, motion carries. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to, so made.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.